Section 4.3, Multiplication Rules for Probability. We're going to jump right into multiplication rules for probability. And we use the multiplication rule when you have a multi-stage experiment, which means there's more than one event occurring. Now, you could have an event that occurs with replacement or without, and we'll get more into that throughout this lesson. But an experiment performed with replacement refers to placing objects back into consideration before performing the next stage of the experiment. If I had a bag of marbles and I pulled out a red marble, before I pull out another marble, I would put that red marble back in. That is what with replacement means. That would make those events independent because one event happening does not influence the probability of the other event happening. For two independent events, E and F, the probability that E and F occur is given by the formula probability of E and F is equal to the probability of E times the probability of F. We're going to begin setting up our spreadsheet for section 4.3, and you can see my first section is going to be the multiplication rule, which is what we're just talking about now. Don't worry too much about this notation, as we're going to talk about this notation throughout the next slides. But again, you're welcome to open my spreadsheet and just copy. I've got the input and the output as well. And again, we're only concerned about the multiplication rule for right now. So I can see that I'm going to have the probability of A and then the probability of B, and we're going to talk about this in a moment, but this means given A. And so we can put up to 5 events, and of course we could do even more than that. But notice then to find the probability, I'm just going to find the product of B3 through B7, which is all of the inputs for the different probabilities. I did put down here to enter 1 for any unused events, because otherwise you might end up with an error in your calculations. So let's see how this spreadsheet can help us use the multiplication rule. For example 1, we are to choose 2 cards from a standard deck with replacement. What is the probability of choosing a king and a queen? So first, I want to point out the word and. This indicates that there is more than one event occurring. We're choosing a king and we're choosing a queen. So this is a multi-stage experiment. And because the cards are replaced after each draw, the probability of the second event occurring is not affected by the outcome of the first event. Thus, the 2 events are independent, which is the only thing that we've learned so far is just independent. So, the probability of a king is that there are 4 kings out of 52 cards. And the probability of the second event occurring is that there are 4 queens, again, out of 52 cards. So we can see that we're multiplying A and B, and I didn't have to use a 1. This worked just fine without the 1, and my probability is 0.0059, or about 0.59%. Example 2. Assume that a study by Human Resources has found that the probabilities of an employee being written up for the following infractions are values shown on the given table. If we are to assume that each infraction is independent of the others, what is the probability that a given employee will be written up for being late for work, taking unauthorized breaks, and leaving early? Again, this is a multi-stage experiment because there are 3 different events occurring. The first is written up for being late for work. So we can see by the table that 0.2478. The probability of B, which would be taking unauthorized breaks, is 0.3186. And the probability of C, which is leaving early, is 0.1954. So the probability of one employee being written up for all 3 infractions is 0.0154, or about 1.54%. Let's now go back to the multiplication rule for probability. Now we're going to look at an experiment performed without replacement, which means the objects are not placed back into consideration before performing the next stage of the experiment. This would make the events dependent because the second probability will be dependent on what happens in the first event. our first example we're going to look at is the probability of drawing a king and then a queen from a standard deck if the cards are drawn without replacement. Just as before, this is a multi-stage experiment. We're drawing a king and then a queen. So stage 1 is to determine the probability of drawing a king from a standard deck of cards. Just as we did before, there were 4 kings and 52 cards, so 4 out of 52, which we can reduce to 1/13 if we want. Stage 2 is to determine the probability of drawing a queen from a standard deck of cards, but we assume that when I drew the first card, it was a king and I kept that king out of the deck. So now there are still 4 queens left in the deck, but instead of 52 cards total, there's only 51 because I'm still holding that king in my hand. Thus, the probability of drawing a queen, assuming a king was drawn first, is 4 out of 51. So now we can compute the probability of drawing a king and then a queen from a standard deck if the cards are drawn without replacement. We said that the probability of drawing a king was 4 divided by 52, and the probability of drawing a queen, assuming that we already drew a king, is 4 divided by 51. So note, now this probability is 0.0060. This is called conditional probability, denoted the probability of F with a line, then E, which means the probability of F given E, or assuming that E occurred. For instance, a diamond has already been chosen from a standard deck without replacement. What is the probability of choosing a second card from the deck and it being red? So first we ask how many red cards are left. Well, diamonds are red, and so the first card that was taken out was a red card. So instead of 13 plus 13 or 26, there are now only 25 red cards in the deck. How many total cards? Again, there used to be 52 cards, but we took 1 diamond out, and now there are 51 cards. So the probability of red given diamond is 25 divided by 51, or about 4902. We've already learned the multiplication rule for probability, but note that we're going to make a bit of a change. So this will work for 2 dependent events or independent events. This says the probability of E and F occurring is the probability of E times the probability of F given E, or the probability of F times the probability of E given F. Example 4, what is the probability of choosing 2 face cards in a row? Assume that the cards are chosen without replacement. So first, please remember that a face card is a jack, queen, or king, and there are 4 of each, so a total of 12. So the probability the first time of drawing a face card out of the 52 cards is 0.2308. But now we're saying, what's the probability that I draw another face card, assuming I've already drawn a face card? So now instead of 12 face cards, there are only 11 because we've taken 1 out. And instead of 52 total cards, there are 51. So the probability of a face card and a face card is the probability of a face card times the probability of a face card given a face card, which is 0.498. Example 5, assume that there are 17 men and 24 women in the Rotary Club. 2 members are chosen at random each year to serve on the scholarship committee. What is the probability of choosing 2 members at random and the first being a man and the second being a woman? Again, note that this is 2 events occurring, and the first choice will influence the probability for the second choice. So the first choice is choosing a man. So we have 17 men. And then you can either add 17 and 24 in your head, or you can let Excel do that work for you. And then we're going to choose a woman. Now, again, we're choosing a woman, assuming a man has already been chosen. So now there are still 24 women because we haven't chosen a woman yet, but now there are 16 men and 24 women. So we can see that the probability is 0.2488, or about 24.9%. Now, we've already discussed conditional probability, or the probability of F given E. This is another way to compute that probability. So to compute that conditional probability, you can take the probability of E and F occurring and divide it by the probability of E. Note that if E and F are independent events, then the conditional probability of F given E is the same as the probability of F. For example 6, out of 300 applicants for a job, 212 are female and 110 are female and have a graduate degree. What is the probability that a randomly chosen applicant has a graduate degree given that she is female? Before we use our new formula, let's use our old way of doing this question. To find the probability that the applicant has a graduate degree given that she is female would be graduate degree females, which is 110, divided by the number of females, which is 212. That would give us 0.5189. Now, using this new formula, this says that we can take the probability of E and F, or in this case, female and has a graduate degree, and divide by the probability of E, or in this case, is female. So that would be in the numerator, graduate degree in female is 110 divided by 300. And in the denominator, the probability of a female would be 212 out of 300. Now you'll note what happens when we're dividing these two fractions. We end up with 110 divided by 212, which is exactly what we had before, and we have the same result, 0.5189. So you might be asking, great, why do I need this new conditional rule for probability? And that is, if we're not given these raw numbers and we're just given the probabilities themselves, you would not be able to determine the result without using this formula. Let's take a look now at how to set up Excel to do that calculation for us. Again, here we're going to just enter the probability of A and B. So it might be that you are multiplying there to find those probabilities. And then we have the probability of A. So the formula for the probability of B given A is E3, or the probability of A and B, divided by the probability of A. So that's going to compute that for you. Let's go back to our example. Out of 300 applicants for a job, 212 are female and 110 are female and have a graduate degree. This one we're changing things up a little bit. We're saying if 152 of the applicants have graduate degrees, what's the probability that a randomly chosen applicant is female given that the applicant has a graduate degree? So the numerator of probability of graduate degree and female is going to be still the 110 out of the 300 total applicants. The denominator in this case is given graduate. So it's female given graduate degree. So that means the denominator has to be all of the applicants with a graduate degree, which is 152 divided by 300, because remember, this is a probability. So now we find that the probability that a randomly chosen applicant is female, given that the applicant has a graduate degree, is 72.37%. Now let's talk about the fundamental counting principle. The fundamental counting principle is not going to give us a probability. Instead, it's going to give us the number of total outcomes of a multi-stage experiment. So if the first stage has K1 outcomes, the second stage has K2, and so on, essentially we're going to multiply the number of outcomes for each of the stages to find the total number of outcomes. So again, this is just a complicated way of saying you can multiply the number of outcomes of each stage to find the total number of outcomes in an experiment. So instead of doing any of these by hand, let's go ahead and set up our spreadsheet. So K1 will be the number of outcomes of the first stage of the experiment, K2 the second, K3 the third, and so on. Again, enter 1 for any unused events if you end up with some weird value. The number of outcomes then is just the product of all of these values. And again, you can set it up exactly as I have here. You can also download the spreadsheet so that you can just use my spreadsheet. For example 8, we're going to use the fundamental counting principle. So Kilby begins her first year at an online degree program in July. Her first semester, she will randomly be assigned to one section for each of 4 different core courses. If there are 8 English 1 sections, so in the first stage there are 8, 12 college algebra sections, so times 12, 11 American history sections, so that's times 11, and 5 physical science sections. How many different options are there for Kilby's schedule for her first semester? We can see there are 5,280 different options. For example 9, we're using the fundamental counting principle without replacement. The governing board of the local charity, Mission Stateville, is electing a new vice president and secretary to replace outgoing board members. If the board consists of 11 members who don't already hold an office, in how many different ways can the 2 positions be filled if no one may hold more than one office? So we can see that there are 11 options for the office of vice president. So the first stage of our experiment will be 11. Now, keeping in mind that whoever we chose out of the 11 to be vice president cannot also be the secretary, we know that there are 10 board members left who could be the secretary. So the number of outcomes is 110, or there are 110 different ways the 2 positions could be filled if no one can hold more than one office. For our final example, we're asked to use the fundamental counting principle to calculate a probability. So remember, the fundamental counting principle will only tell us how many outcomes there are. So let's find the number of outcomes and then discuss the probability. So Professor B, that's me, is preparing an afternoon snack for her twins, Sawyer and Finley. She wants to give each child one item. She has the following snacks on hand: carrots, raisins, crackers, grapes, apples, yogurt, and granola bars. If she randomly chooses one snack for Sawyer and one snack for Finley, what is the probability that each child gets the same snack as yesterday? So first, let's talk about the number of different ways that I could distribute the snacks to my twins. There are 7 options: carrots, raisins, crackers, grapes, apples, yogurt, and granola bars. So there's 7 for Sawyer, and there's also 7 for Finley. So there are 49 total outcomes. That is not a probability. Remember, probabilities are always between 0 and 1. So the question, what's the probability that each child gets the same snack as yesterday? There's only one outcome where each child gets the same snack. So is 1 divided by the number of outcomes. So we have about 2% chance of that happening.